every once in a while, we hear what the Christian right really thinks. And what I mean by that is typically we hear circumventions or allusions to what the right wing really thinks or wants when we hear about religion or gay marriage or abortion, but they're not usually so direct. But now, as Anthony sent me, Bryan Fischer is straight up saying the First Amendment was only designed to protect Christians. Check this out.
But we have never tampered with the First Amendment. That's never been touched. It's never been amended. It's never been revoked. It's never been repealed. It's never been tampered with. Its words have never been changed. So it means today exactly what it meant in 1789, which means that by the word religion in the First Amendment, the founders meant Christianity. At the time of the founding, 99.8% of the population of the colonies, what became the states, were Christians. The other 0.2% were Jews. By religion, the founders were thinking of Christianity. So the purpose was to protect the free exercise of the Christian faith. It wasn't about protecting anything else. They weren't providing any cover or shelter for the free exercise of Islam or even Judaism or even atheism. They weren't saying you can't do it. I want to be clear on that. They weren't prohibiting that. They were just saying that's not what we're talking about here.
Right. So this is, I'm not sure where to start with this, Lewis. It is true that Bryan Fischer is simply stating the demographics of the country, the religious demographics that existed. But that doesn't really matter here. It's a total non-starter whether at the time there were 99.8% Christians or 0.2% Christians. We talk about criticism from both sides about reinterpreting or using the Constitution or other founding documents to one's advantage. And that's what this is, Lewis, because none of this is stated anywhere. Jesus is never mentioned in the founding documents. And for Bryan Fischer to suggest that the First Amendment really was meant and applies only to Christians is totally absurd, but it's probably the most honest we've heard him be in a long time. This is really what a big contingent of the religious right thinks. Some of these constitutional protections are just for Christians.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people firmly believe this, but in this lies the implication that the founders were not smart enough to realize that maybe that is a word that should be put in, Christianity,
right?
Or that perhaps they didn't even realize that there are other religions. It's pretty ridiculous to think that they were not smart enough to realize what they were doing.
We've talked about this before, and the theocrats or would-be theocrats like Bryan Fischer are treating the Constitution and the founding documents of this country like a lot of religious people teach or teach and also treat their sacred text, right? Including right-wing Christians here in the United States. They say it means whatever they want it to mean as long as it suits their political, social, cultural, or religious goals, and it's never been more clear than Bryan Fischer is making it here.
Yeah, it's I hate to use the term, but it's like an epidemic, and it's spreading. I don't know how you fight this, David, but it's an uphill battle.